Great. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So, Mr. Altenberg, you had mentioned a couple of things. I just want to, that you said were problems with Bitcoin generation, or I think you were talking about Bitcoin in particular. But you mentioned that they were talking about bringing online 3 waste coal plants into Pennsylvania. Is that right? So now, again, I'm from Nebraska. I'm not from Pennsylvania, so I don't know all the rules. But wouldn't each of those plants have to be permitted to be able to go into operation? And if to reach that and to get those permits, wouldn't they have to comply with the overall emissions targets for the state of Pennsylvania? Wouldn't that work?
The plants, and there's 2 waste coal plants that are in operation. They were existing waste coal plants. They were in operation, and they were operating at very, very low capacity factors. Most of these, all these plants are heavily subsidized. Pennsylvanians pay 60% of the energy costs for the Bitcoin miners at these plants through subsidies from taxpayers and ratepayers. But yes, they do. The plants do meet their current permits, but they are increasing their emissions because of Bitcoin mining.
So, but what is there? Would there be a limit though on what they would be able to generate as far as power, because they're generating more emissions, or do they have some sort of grandfather clause that allows them to just continue to generate?
Well, the state has established permit limits for them based on the fact they're 90 megawatt plants each. And they were operating, again, much lower capacity, so they weren't operating anywhere near that before Bitcoin mining started, and now they've ramped up their capacity. So where they are, we believe, operating under their permit limits, they are still emitting a lot more than they were just a few years ago.
Okay. And then you also mentioned something about Bitcoin operators plugging into fracking gas wells, and that was illegal. Is that my understanding? So there's laws against them doing that. Is that right? I mean, like without getting a permit, that is.
They plugged it in without a permit. The Department of Environmental Protection issued a notice of violation in that case, but I believe there's still litigation in progress over that.
So, but essentially what you're saying is it was illegal for them to do that in the first place, so they were breaking the laws anyway, right? Is that accurate?
I believe they were, but that has not been determined yet.
Not been proven yet, okay. And then you also mentioned the noise pollution as well. So help me again with Pennsylvania. Are there rules or permit? I mean, like, don't you have to get a permit or something with regard to noise or generation for facilities?
Noise pollution is generally handled by local municipalities, and it's traditionally been handled as a local nuisance issue. So one of one of the recent fracked gas wells that is going into operation to mine Bitcoin is in a location of the state called the Pennsylvania Wilds, which is some of our most pristine habitat. Frankly, there aren't a lot of neighbors in that area to file noise pollution complaints. What we have is a considerable amount of wildlife that the tourism industry depends on. So this noise pollution could directly impact the tourist industry, but there really isn't a strong regulatory mechanism.
So, but there would be a local entity, maybe a county or somebody like that, who could put, limits on how much noise you could generate. Is that accurate? I mean, there is some form of local government there to put in those.
There is local government. I don't know the extent of their authority towards noise pollution.
Okay. Dr. Kellis, I think you also mentioned that the noise pollution was one of the things. I think you described it as a jet engine. Is that accurate? So same thing, same question to you. Isn't there local entities like a county or a city that would put in ordinances or whatever to say, hey, you can only have so much noise allowed?
Yeah, and there actually has been some efforts. Again, like my colleague mentioned, there are limits on how much they can prevent and permit. There have been, there's at least one example of a moratorium on cryptocurrency mining because of issues of noise and other safety issues, fire and health safety issues. There was a temporary one. So they were able to do a temporary one there, yes.
And Ms. Dentler, we're running out of time here, so I'll ask you to be brief, but your experience at NPPD, I know that some counties in Nebraska have ordinances with regard to, say, wind setbacks for noise and so forth. Is that your experience in Nebraska as well?
Yes, I'd speak from my previous economic development experience. Typically, we'd see zoning regulations both within municipalities and then within counties. And if they wanted to regulate decibel levels from any industry, and as you mentioned, we've seen that recently with wind, they put those regulations in place.
All right, great, thank you.
Great. So